Yo guys, what is up with it? I'm Sharpless. Today I'll be listing my favorite towns in my favorite game, Mother One. Um, this is a very subjective tier list. I'd say there's 8 main towns in Mother One, and I'm gonna be counting down all of them. But this one's for all my geography fans out there. The world of Mother One is very interesting because it's on an NES game, but it's all on one massive world all loaded in. And all this gray stuff in the middle it's like secretly loaded in, but it's like not really accessible, but it's there. So I just love analyzing the world. Something interesting, the winter snowman town, the winter section, and the mountain are all on the southeastern part of the map, not like you would think it would be on the northern part. All the mountain and the winter section would be north, but it's all in the south, which means I'm pretty sure the theory is that the equator is over here. The equator is on the western side of the world, and the world is rotated 90 degrees. But it's possible that the world of Mother is just in the southern hemisphere, and these mountains are and winters because the equator is to the north somewhere, which would be why the desert is in the north because the equator is in the north. So it's really interesting to think about. So my number 8 least favorite worst town is Reindeer. Reindeer's alright, but there's nothing interesting about Reindeer. There's one interesting thing and one semi not really interesting thing, and everything else is boring. Alright, yeah, I'm doing this MS Paint style because there's no tier list maker for the towns in Mother 1. It's whatever. So Reindeer's annoying. You get off the train to Reindeer, like up here somewhere, and you have to walk all the way down and all the way down. And there's just so much suburban houses that you can't. Every single one of these square doors you can't go into. Like none of these houses are anything. They're all just trees basically. And there's so much suburban houses, and then you finally get to the town, and it's just in the southern, totally tree locked. It's like Youngtown kind of. It's so tree locked, and there's like a store, and there's only 2 points of interest. One point of interest is around here somewhere. There's a girl who looks like Pigpen, who's got all this like dust floating around her like Pigpen, and when you talk to her, she gives you a flea bag. So that's like the only place to get like a guaranteed 100% flea bag. The other place to get a flea bag is from a dog drop, but that's like a 5% chance or lower. So if you want a flea bag, you come to the middle of Main Street Reindeer, and you'll get a free flea bag. The other point of interest is in the Reindeer Station, which isn't even on this map. I'll find it on the big map. Reindeer Station has right here. This will have the hat for Anna. So the only point of interest is going to Reindeer and then not even leaving the station and getting Anna's hat and then instantly going to Snowman, which will lead me to my next town, number 7, Snowman. Snowman's interesting. It's very out of the way. It's in the very bottom right corner of the map, but it has one of the best songs. I will give it that. Snowman has one of the best songs of any town. So big plus for that. And Snowman is where you get Anna. You walk. What you do when you go to Snowman is you get off the train here. You go straight down. This is all an encounter zone, and it kind of sucks. But once you get through it, you get to the town. There's like 2 shops, but you just ignore that and you go this path around, up and around this horseshoe, and then you get all the way to this church, and you give Anna her hat and recruit Anna. Then the second you recruit Anna, you use your Onyx hook and you get out of Snowman because the enemies in Snowman will one shot Anna. But the town here is really weak. There's 3 houses you can go into, and like half the people you talk to in Snowman will give you a cold because they have a cold because they live in Snowman. So it's just like it's fun to talk to the characters, obviously, because they have awesome text, but like it's also so risky because you can just get a cold and you can heal, but I think the like hospital or all the healing costs money in Snowman. The shop is okay, but it's nothing crazy. It's definitely number 7. All right, the next town, This town might be a shock because this is an important town. But at the end of the day, it's really not that important. It's very similar to Snowman. This town is Ellay. I don't know what Ellay's other name is, but this is Ellay. It looks kind of silly. It's like there's only one point of interest in Ellay, and that's this live house right here. When you go to the live house, you can get Teddy, but you have to have a full party of Lloyd and Anna already. And Teddy's like the most valuable party member. You can't really. It's hard to beat the game with him. It's possible, but it creates story constraints getting Teddy. But when you get him, he's so powerful and he one shots everything. Especially when you get his katana, which is very close to this town. But other than getting Teddy, there's not a lot to do here. There's a department store with a bunch of random items like strawberry tofu, a bunch of late game stuff, but not very interesting. To the north, there's the rocket tower where you can fly to the island, but not very substantial. And a lot of optimal playthroughs, you're not even going this close to Ellay at all. You're just running along this bottom right corner and then running to the right to go to Itoy. You're just totally ignoring Ellay. It is nice to get the teleport spot for when you're like learning the game glitchless, but once you get good at teleports, you don't need to even come here at all. Alright, so number five. Number five, I do love this town a lot, but it's just a very empty town, probably on purpose. Maybe if my opinions change one day, I'll rate this way higher. But I like this town a lot. Spookane. Maybe if I lived in Spokane, Washington in real life, I would like this town more. But it's a ghost town. It's like more of a formality town than anything. But something interesting about Spokane is this hotel right here. This is the station, the train station. And you always Spokane is a very important town because it has this ghost house, which has the fourth melody, which is obviously very important. But you get the key here. The map says that. But what I like more about Spokane than that crap is this hotel, because this hotel here, when you stay at the hotel, it's like stupid cheap, and then you get full healed, and then you fight a normal Starman, just like a normal. It was secretly the hotel was worked secretly by an enemy Starman, and he's like trying to trap the party. But like he also full heals the party, so he didn't really think of that. So usually it's always a really easy fight because he just got full healed. But it's just like a rarely small instance of like a silly event happening for no reason. But it's also really easy. Most of the stuff in this game is really hard. It's a very difficult game. But this is a minor instance where you're put in a very easy situation. Instead of getting like auto killed by a robot, you're fighting against one enemy and it's really chill. And you're like in a spooky ghost town. So I like Spokane a lot. Maybe one day if I move to Spokane, Washington, I'll like this place a lot more. But the top four towns are just so important and so like they're such necessary towns that I had to rate them higher. So number four is going to be Magic. Magicant is a very important town, and it's a very fun town. Everyone's talking all weirdly, and like it's just so silly. What I like about Magicant is how it's pink. No, I'm just kidding. What I like about Magicant is how all of these houses, you can go into all these houses, and the text, like the people say the craziest stuff. This guy gives you a magic candy. Like there's still items I don't know about, and like random crap. Like Anna has a magic ribbon way over here from the guy swimming in clouds, and it's like there's just like so much random stuff. It's so weird to get here, and you can go up totally north around the castle and get the flying men. You can like the graveyards are here. Just such a unique town, obviously. Because I love when people are playing this game for the first time and they try every single one of these wells, and then they're about to give up, and then they accidentally find where they're supposed to go and they're leaving. It's that like the design of these wells is so funny because it's at the start. Like if you know it's there, you just go into it immediately. But the very first time you're playing through it, you're like, what? Where do I? Is it this one? Is it this one? And then you're like, oh, I give up. I literally tried all of these. I give up. It's got to be something else. And then you accidentally walk over the right one when you're leaving. It's so funny. The design is actually so much smarter than I once thought it was. But yeah, I like all these towns. Like it has all of the like the big bag is such a awesome, unique item to this game that's just so nice once you have it, and like it just has everything you need. These shops are really like some of the most important shops in the game are just right here. You can access it so early because you can. This is like the second town you get to technically. The drawbacks of Magicant is getting to it is really weird. Withdrawing money is really weird, and you can't deposit any money in Magicant. There's no place to deposit money, which is really odd for a town. But you can withdraw money awkwardly, and you can heal. There's totally free healing, and you get an item that teleports you. Like logistically, Magicant should be number one just because of the fact that the Onyx Hook exists, and like if this was like a purely logical tier list and not like my opinion, I think Magicant would objectively be the best town because you could just teleport to it at any point for free with the Onyx Hook. Like the space of one inventory slot is pretty OP. But I guess it's not that important because you get teleport eventually. But still, you can Onyx Hook, and then as soon as you Onyx Hook, you can. There's so many different routes you can teleport out of Magicant to teleport anywhere because that's like what this strat is. Sometimes people go all the way to the left and teleport up left. Sometimes people go up here and then teleport around. Sometimes you just go up and then start your teleport right here and then go around. Sometimes you go up and you're healing, and then when you leave the healer's house, you just teleport instantly, and it's super easy because you have this like loop. So it's a great town, really optimal. A lot of items, amazing place, funny music, stage in Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS. So ideal. It's also the only town with flying men, which I did mention, but there's also Redweed too, and Mary's Castle, and the dragon. There's just so much stuff going on here. Crazy important town. All right, so number 3 is the one and only hometown of Nenten, Podunk. This is the starting town. This is the one that the people are most familiar with. This is a classic. Um, Podunk, similar to Magicant, has a lot going on because it's the first town. This is Ninten's house, and he has no neighbors. He's so lonely. His only neighbor's Pippi. But once you walk down to the town, there's a lot going on. There's a bunch of buildings. There's a bunch of suburban houses. There's not too many like Reindeer. It's like spaced correctly. Um, and yeah, I kind of talked about this in one of my enemy tier lists, but right here, the map kind of doesn't show it, but if you go onto these two spots right here, right where my cursor is at the very right most of the screen, and right here above the cops. Normally the cops are right here, but if you run around them and go over here, this is a peninsula of power, and you can fight enemies from from outside of Marysville, like before going to the cemetery. Like when you're like level 2, you can fight them so early. So it's really interesting that that exists. I didn't even know that existed for a long time, but the Peninsula of Power, there's 2 of them right here and right here, are very interesting. Aside from that, let's go back to the big map. Podunk has a lot going on with the cemetery. Oh, that's weird. Yeah. There we go. Got the cemetery here. We got so you can see why this Peninsula of Power works is because the Marysville, like Podunk is so close to Marysville, and yeah, if you're running right here or right here, you're gonna get the Marysville enemies instead of getting the Podunk enemies, which is really interesting. But aside from the cemetery, there's also the Canary Village where Melody 2 is, and the zoo where Melody 3 is, and Starman Jr. And you have to do all of this to be able to get to the rest of the game, so it's important. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Cemetery has Pippi, obviously. And yeah, it's this. I like the design of the cemetery in this game. It's really simple, but I like it because it's hard to get lost here. It's easier to get lost in the freaking Canary Village than it is the cemetery, and they look pretty much the same. But yeah. So yeah, that's my Podunk. It's a great starting town. Honestly, I like it. I like having bread there. Being able to buy bread there is great. But I will say, the design is good. How the zoo is designed, but This walk is so long, and if you don't have repel rings doing this walk, it can be very annoying getting into level 1 enemies. Because this game isn't Earthbound where you just enemies run away from you. Like you're still gonna get into level 1 enemies constantly going up this entire walk, even if you're level 30 if you don't have a repel ring. And this town doesn't ever sell repel rings ever, so you end up in this town without repel rings and you're going to Magicant or something without an Onyx hook, you're so gonna get so many fights here. But I do like how it's designed and it connects to the zoo. There's two paths to the zoo. You can take the short path, which literally has melody too, so it's so optimal. Or you could like be taking your time, take the long path, and take a lot of fights so that you get a higher level for the zoo. So I like the design. It's a good starting design. That's why it's at number 3. If it was designed poorly, I would have it way lower. But I like the other two towns more. Number 2 I like more is Youngtown, because Youngtown is so unique for the town. I Youngtown is just so chill when you get there, because when you get to Youngtown, you just walked through this entire freaking desert and you did all this crap. And then you saw the peace sign, and then you saw the infinite loop, and you stepped on the landmine over here. And you just want to get to Ellay so bad and get to Etoy. But first you finally can get to Youngtown. And Youngtown, you get a free heal at whoa. You get the free heal in this house. There's like bread if you need it, and there's some other random crap in the shop, which is all you need. And then you go to this blue door house and you get PSI teleport, which is arguably the most important magic spell in the game. One of the most important magic spells, but one of the most useful utility spells for sure. And I just like that. It's like a much bigger oasis from the desert. Like the desert has a literal oasis, but after you're rocking through this desert for so long, it's so nice to get to Youngtown. You hear that peaceful music, and plus it's really awesome how it's just like a town full of kids and there's no parents. It's like that South Park episode. It's just permanently kids until you save the parents, and then saving the parents requires you to beat the game. So you're like, oh my god, I need to rescue these parents, like or rescue the parents to save these kids so they don't all kill themselves. It's kind of Children of the Corn-esque now that I'm thinking about it. Thinking about a South Park episode, but really it's like that's how Children of the Corn is. They're like in a town without adults, and the children kill all the adults. So it's like that, but it's like happy mode because the parents are all kidnapped, and then you rescue the parents when you beat the game. So I just like the town, and I like the song. I like how there's a glitch when you're on. Let's see how this handles the zoom. When you're on this bridge right here, if you start teleporting while you're still in Youngtown and then teleport up here and then you teleport again, it'll keep playing the Youngtown song. It'll never start playing the like Being Friends or Pollyanna theme when you go into the swamp. And so that's interesting. This probably happens in other towns, but it's really not the same because you get teleported in this town, and when you like most towns don't even have themes. Like Magicant has a theme, but you can't really do this in Magicant because Magicant's so weird. And most of the other towns don't have themes. Like Snowman has a theme, but Snowman's connected by a tunnel, so you can't teleport through the tunnel to keep the music. So this is like the only place you can do that. It's really interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons I like Youngtown number 2. I like Youngtown more than Podunk even. Um, Youngtown with a U. All right, so let's see. What will number one be? I think you can deduce it because I did already talk about it a little bit when I was talking about Podunk. My favorite town is Marysville. I don't know why, but I like Marysville so much. Every time I get to Marysville after going through the Magicant Cave section, I'm like, everything's alright. I'm like, I'm gonna get Lloyd, and Lloyd is gonna be my punching bag inventory. He's gonna be carrying the backpack, holding my inventory. And I don't know, everything's just so chill here. It's like a big train track diagonal, and there's just like you go down, there's like the easy mode factory, or you can go up and go to the hard mode factory, and you're just like factory maxing. But really, I like Marysville. Like the town itself is pretty chill. It has everything you need, and it has your resident character, important character. There's no like melody you get in this town per se, but The shop has like ropes, it has repel rings, it has all of the all the bread you'll ever need. It has boomerangs, and the elementary school has a guy who sells super bombs in the NES and the GBA version, which is really useful, and he also sells another weapon for Lloyd. So there's like just the most useful shopping other than like Magicant. This place has everything you'll ever need. Um, and if there's something you need that's not in this place, it's probably in one of the factories. One of the factories has like another Franklin badge and a bunch of capsules. A lot of really important items lie in this town. But more importantly, geographically, um, Marysville is right smack dab in the center of the world. It's as close to the center as as any town will ever be. When you're out in the top of Mount Etoy or you're somewhere random, when you're teleporting to Marysville, you're always going to be like in a centralized place, and you're going to know you can buy bread and buy repel rings and buy a super bomb if you need to. So I like I just feel the most safe there, and you can also it's close to Santa Claus Station, very close to Santa Claus Station, which is the train station that is obviously super important for the plot, but it can let you get to anywhere in the southern half of the map significantly easier than other like any other way. You can take the train from Santa Claus straight to Snowman if you wanted to, or straight to Spookane. Straight. You just have so many options. You can get to any of the southern towns very fast from Marysville compared to any other town. On top of all of that, everything I just discussed, going to Marysville is also the best way to go to the one-way ticket to the Breadcrumb Realm. So when you teleport to Marysville, you follow this train track, you go around, and then instead of going up to the desert, you go straight down, and then you go diagonal down right for a while, and then for a while you walk along this path. You go all the way to the right, and this is only possible. This is the Game Boy Advance breadcrumb glitch. Follow my cursor along here, and this would work in the NES version, but you can't get through a set of trees that's like right around here. Somewhere right here, there's all of these trees that you can't. Your Nintendo is his hitbox is too big for some reason in the NES version, but in the Game Boy Advance version, you can since the movement is pixel perfect, you can slide along, and you can access all of this in the Game Boy Advance version. You can run all the way down, all the way to this gray barrier. When you leave a bread on this gray barrier, the game like loads all of this as trees, but in reality, this is actually the start of the breadcrumb. This is like the entrance point to the breadcrumb void, to the breadcrumb glitch. The reason the breadcrumb glitch is because you can get to this spot in the Game Boy Advance version, and this spot is only accessible from Marysville, so close to Marysville, and it's a shame too. You get Lloyd, and you have to do Duncan's factory to blow up this rock. You have to blow up this rock to get to the breadcrumb glitch spot. If Marysville was there was some possible way to get to the spot before then, it would save so much more time. And the only place somewhere like that would happen would be on the outskirts of Marysville. Excuse me, on the outskirts of Marysville before you recruit Lloyd. There's nowhere other theoretical place it could happen other than like because Podunk is completely surrounded by this river, which means it's impossible to access anything breadcrumb glitch related, but Marysville is where all the like there's all of these grave borders everywhere around it. So there's it's just so interesting. How centralized it is means you can get to basically any other town more effectively. Is why it's the reason why I like Marysville the most. So yeah, let me know what you think. Marysville doesn't have the best song, but Marysville is also interesting because you get to Marysville and you're by yourself as Nintendo and you're listening to Pollyanna and you're really familiar with Pollyanna and you're getting used to Pollyanna and you like it a lot because you've been hearing it a lot. And then eventually, like, you go and get the bottle rocket and then you come back and you're still listening to Pollyanna when you recruit Lloyd. And then once you get Lloyd, then it changes to being friends and then you're listening to being friends for the first time in this town and you're like, oh wow, this isn't Pollyanna, this is the other song that's so awesome. This is awesome. This song is so awesome. So like this town really makes you think of how great both songs are because it just in the way the game is designed. I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah, let me know what you think of my town tier list. This one is definitely super subjective, and I can see other people liking other towns in a way different order, and I would respect that. So I'd like to see why you have a different list than me. But I love the towns in this game. I really can't hate, except for Reindeer. Reindeer's just like a shit. It's interesting. Reindeer and Marysville look so similar. Like when I just flash through them, you like they look identical almost. Reindeer just has a couple more buildings, but it's just like because of the location and because literally nothing is going on in Reindeer and everything is going on in Marysville. That's why I love Marysville the most. There's just so many options. Once you get to Marysville, you could ignore Lloyd and go straight into this tunnel and then go straight to Snowman and then recruit Anna before Lloyd. I love doing that. I've only done it a couple times, but it is very fun, very interesting. It makes the playthrough so fun, in my opinion. So, yeah, I just love the geography of this game. The map, so interesting. It makes routing the game so fun to me, so interesting and so fun to me. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm always down to discuss. Duncan's Factory wasn't even Duncan's Factory is for another video. Adios.